Okay. Welcome everybody, thanks for coming out to TecSocial tonight. I'm Bob Pelly with InnovaCorp, and I'm pleased tonight that we've got Mathew Georghiou from MediaSpark. He's going to talk about crowdsourcing, and specifically he's going to talk about it from two perspectives. One is with GoCapeBreton.com, which is a hyper-local media, or not, I guess not media, but news and information portal. And secondly is an idea that's in development regarding crowdfunding for startups, for business ideas. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt, and he will take it away. You'll let folks know that this is also the video portion, or the full presentation is at Cape Breton.
Oh, the most of what we're talking about is at Cape Breton as well.
Okay.
In addition to the video. Yeah.
GoCapeBreton.com.
GoCapeBreton.com. All right, you're still far away, but
Jimmy,
all right.
Not moving again.
I'll give you a hug later.
Excellent. Okay, that's a motivator for you.
Promises, promises.
All right, well, thanks for coming. We'll talk about GoCapeBreton.com and crowdfunding, as Bob mentioned. Thanks, Bob, for having me today. Got to find my X here. As Bob said, I'm a, what did you call me? A walker or?
Wanderer.
Wanderer, right. So I have to kind of keep my...
I had to think there. It could have been any number of
That's true. Most not suitable for camera. So, a quick summary. GoCapeBreton.com is a new website that we're going to be launching later this summer, and we believe it can transform local economic development. And I know that using the words like transforming economic development is a pretty big claim. No, please come in. Can't keep people away from their beer. It's a big claim for a website, let's say. A website's been around 20 years, so having a website transform economic development. Hopefully, I'll be able to show you our thinking behind this. And what we're doing now is we're preparing for launch by creating awareness with key stakeholders, recruiting supporters and sponsors. I've done this presentation probably about 24 times. Richard, and by the way, Richard Lorway is here, our business development manager. Many of you guys know Richard. Richard and I have done this presentation a couple dozen times to many local organizations that you would all know, and we've gotten unanimous support, which is, like, I knew we'd get pretty strong support. I didn't realize we'd get such enthusiastic and unanimous support, which is almost unheard of for an economic development initiative in Cape Breton. Everybody liking it so far. So most of you guys know us already, but quick background. MediaSpark is a company I started 20 years ago. We develop educational games and simulations, mobile apps, and web platforms. And we serve thousands of customers around the world from our office here in Sydney. For the past few years, we've been developing a new web platform. We call it Community Oasis. Today we're talking about it as GoCapeBreton.com. And our plan is to license this technology platform to other communities around the world. But first we want to deploy it here in Cape Breton. And there's two reasons why we want to deploy it here in Cape Breton. The first is, we live and work here and we grew up here, so we want this community to be successful. But the second, and I know a lot of you guys in this room are going to relate to this, I'm sick and tired of having the same conversations about our problems in this community that we've had for 20 years, right? Despite the fact that if you compare Cape Breton to other challenged communities in North America, we've had a lot going for us, a whole list of things going for us, including, by my estimation, perhaps as much as $1 billion, that's a billion with a B, spent in economic development over the past 20 years. Yet, we all talk to each other, we're still talking about the same problems, same issues that we've been talking about for 20 years. It's, we're tired of it. And I think it's time that we mobilize the community so we can start solving some of these problems as opposed to depending on others to solve them for us. But the problem historically has been, how do you mobilize a wider community to participate in economic development? It's a very difficult, if not impossible, task. That's the technology we built. Our technology makes that possible because of the advancements in technology and so on. So let me start by showing you a 2-minute video of GoCapeBreton.com. It'll show you exactly what it is, and then I'll circle back and tell you the philosophy behind it from an economic development perspective. There.
At GoCapeBreton.com, we believe that everything is news. The Little League baseball game, the new business, the big sale, the road closure, the used bicycle, the new job posting, or the big event. It's all news to somebody in our community. We also believe that a community should be able to post and share its own news. No waiting and hoping for a reporter or an editor to deem it worthy of being published. No hoping that your page will be liked to be seen. GoCapeBreton.com allows you to post your own news as you want it, when you want it. Your content, your message, exactly as you want to share it. GoCapeBreton.com is our community portal. It allows anyone to share anything. By sharing information with each other, we can connect friends and families, people to jobs, volunteers to good causes, students to educational opportunities, businesses to customers, sports fans to local results, and our community to each other and the world. GoCapeBreton.com is exclusively designed to unlock the social capital and the economic potential of our community. Here's how it works. Use the tab menu to navigate to different subject areas. You can read all of the latest items posted under a subject. Click a post to view its details. A post can contain text, graphics, photos, videos, documents, links to websites, Facebook pages, Twitter widgets, and more. Some posts allow you to add comments too. If you want to post something, simply navigate to the subject page where you want your post to appear and click the New Post button. Then follow the simple steps to add anything you want. So go ahead, read the community news, create a free account, leave a comment, and share your own news, no matter how big or small. It's all free. Now go Cape Breton.
So that's Go Cape Breton. It'll be launched later this summer. If you go to GoCapeBreton.com right now, you'll see this video and an explanation of what we're doing. And you know, Bob, I forgot all about the fact that I had prizes here for people. Almost one prize for almost every person. So I've got some prizes, but you have to work at winning them. Okay, so it's not just easy. I'm not going to just give them to you. So what you have to do is, you'll notice in my slides, every once in a while, you'll see a picture of maybe a board game. This is an entrepreneur board game, or a children's book on entrepreneurship, or a simulation, a business simulation. If you see a picture of one of these products, you have to yell out, "I love this presentation." Whoever yells it out first and loudest will win the prize that you see. And if you can't remember "I love this presentation," you can say something like "I love Mathew Georghiou," or anything that makes me feel like a rock star. You know, that's all eligible for the prize. All right, let's go back to where we were. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay. So
I love.
Wait, is that
this, I love Mathew Georghiou.
I love you too, Steve, but Arnold was first.
Oh, I wasn't going for the game.
Just a declaration of love.
For those who don't know, Steve and I have shared a bed before. We were both married at the time. What is in Boston? What happens in Boston stays in Boston. I think that was Boston.
So stop that.
Yeah, okay, so Go Cape Breton's like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Kijiji, Flickr, Reddit, Google, Yahoo, Monster, Kickstarter, and a whole bunch of other platforms, all combined together specifically for supporting community economic development. So let's talk about why GoCapeBreton.com works. First, we have to look at how economic development is normally done, and it's normally focused on resources, roads, buildings, and branch plans, which research continues to show, we know just from personal experience, does not work in terms of long-term economic development. You may as well buy lottery tickets if you continue to focus on this. And again, it's not us saying this, although we have this experience at Cape Breton pretty clearly. There's a variety of research available internationally that talks about community economic development and how focusing on the people in the community and the entrepreneurs in that community tends to be the most effective approach. And of course, you guys have probably all heard of the One Nova Scotia, now called the Avenue Report, which supports a more modern approach to economic development. Again, focused more on the community, more on people, and more on entrepreneurship. So that's the old way of thinking about CED. But in order for us to find a solution to the more modern thinking of the CED, we have to consider what makes successful communities. So what do successful communities have in common? And I believe, and again, I think you'll see this in various research, that successful communities have vibrant ecosystems, right? So what's a vibrant ecosystem? It means the community is able to connect the right people to take the right actions at the right time. What are those actions? Well, those actions could be starting a new business, could be growing a business, It could be investing money in business or some other project in the community. It could be upgrading skills. So if somebody's underemployed and they need to upgrade their skills to be more employed, or if you're already fully employed and you just want to get to that next level in your career. It could be volunteering in the community, or community service, or nurturing families. All of these things feed into building a vibrant ecosystem. We can't just talk about startup ecosystems, which is becoming more common in Nova Scotia, and that's great. We got to take it to the next level and go beyond just startup, beyond just business, and talk about the entire community, because it all feeds into that. So if we were to agree that...
Oh, I love Mathew Georghiou.
Ah, there we go. I'm glad you Kids are a little old for this now, but...
He's gonna be grandfather soon.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. You're getting started already. Well, thank you, Stephen. So if we were to agree that ecosystems are what we need to focus on, the next question becomes, how do we build an ecosystem? And I believe that you build ecosystems through social capital. So what is social capital? There's two kind of parts to it in terms of community. First is the skills of the people in the community. So if you look at any community, every person in that community participates and contributes skills to that community. Whether you're a teacher, a lawyer, or a student, wherever you are contributing skills to that community in some way. The second part of social capital is the relationships between people. So when you're able to get people who normally would not connect in their daily lives to connect, good things tend to happen. But if you look at anything, whether it's business startup, whether it's volunteering, whatever it is, it's not usually one person. It's a group of people that establish relationships in some way to make things happen. So social capital in a community is all about the skills of the people and the relationships between those people. Every community has social capital. The question is, can they unlock that social capital? Can they build it in a way that they can create critical mass and move the community forward? So what social capital does is it reduces the social and physical barriers that get in the way of people exchanging ideas, resources, talents, and capital with one another. When people are able to exchange those things, good things happen in the community. The other thing it does is it builds trust. When you build trust, you can make things happen much faster, much quicker. We all know about how relationships can grease the wheels of anything, whether it's business or politics or life. And so building trust is a very important part of social capital. And the other thing it does is it allows people to organize themselves in a community to solve problems. And they may be large problems, like we're talking about today, which is economic development. That's a big problem. Or it might be very small problems that fester into significant issues for a community, such as, it's Friday night, I got nothing to do, I'm bored, I hate living here. And I'm going to tell my friends I hate living here and so on. We hear that kind of experience all the time, and I know you guys, but we know it's not really true, right? Because there's always things to do, but maybe we don't have the right friends who know what's out there and what we can do in the community. Or maybe we don't have a place where we can go and find out and discover the great things that are happening in our community. So that's what social capital can do for a community, and we need to focus on building it. Now, I talked about connecting people with action. If you look at the actions that are needed to create some type of economic prosperity, it's like a chain with various links in that chain. If any link breaks, it's not going to happen. So if you're interested in starting a business and you have a startup idea and you don't know what to do next, you're not going to take that anywhere, and it's of no value to the community. But if you know some of the people in this room, we'll be able to tell you the difference between an ACO and an NSBI and an OCOR and so on, and be able to set you on that path to the next relationship you need, whether it's developing a business plan or accessing your financing or your HR or whatever it may be. It's all a series of relationships. Even branch plan attraction, which has been a primary economic development vehicle for Nova Scotia, whether we agree with it or disagree with it. If you look at what has to happen from the site consultant connecting with the community, to finding a business case, to finding the key people and HR facilities, this whole stream of things that has to happen, and if any one of those links is weak, it's not going to happen. And again, we know that these things do happen in communities. They have happened in our communities. But they're happening so infrequently and so randomly, we can't create that critical mass to build things up. So if we were to agree that vibrant communities is what we need to focus on, and that social capital is a key ingredient to building those vibrant ecosystems, how do we build social capital? So I believe that you build social capital by democratizing the exchange of information and making it easy for people to find what and who they need when they need it. Now, what does democratizing the exchange of information mean? Here we are living in Canada, one of the great democracies in the world, but the truth is that our news and information that we have in our community is not democratized. It's controlled by small groups of people, right? So when you're listening to the radio or when you're reading the newspaper, that information has been decided by a small group of people who said, this is what we're going to put out there. Now, they may be very well-meaning. In most cases they are. Some cases they're not, because we know that too. But that's giving us a very narrow view of our community. Very narrow view of our community. We're not really discovering everything that's going on. Whether they can't give us a broader view because of profitability reasons, and we're seeing, of course, a lot of local news media around the world are shrinking because they can't afford to hire the people they need to create the news and so on. So we're getting an even narrower view of what's happening in our community. The other thing we have to think about is, why should we filter everything that we want to say to each other as a community? When I put out a news release, why should I have to hope that somebody's going to pick up that news release so you guys can know about it, right? If we all know each other and we trust each other, you'll want to know that news anyway. But at the same time, we're all busy living our lives. So we're not going to be going to 100 different websites every day trying to find news in our community. We need to be able to unlock that information. I'll give one last example. If you ever wonder the power of unlocking information and allowing people to exchange information freely, if you ever wonder how powerful that is, all we have to do is look at world history and look at how oppressive regimes around the world have oppressed their people by controlling the flow of information. As soon as that information is liberated, it can change everything. And I think that's what's happening in communities today. Obviously not as oppressive as some of the things that are happening around the world, but it's still limiting and holding our communities back. And that's why a portal like Go Cape Breton, I think, can change things. So what it does is allows anyone to share anything, and it's the first place people go to for local news, information, events, business jobs, volunteering, and everything they need to live, work, and play. That last statement, live, work, and play, is very important because when we push this out to the community, we're not telling the community this is for economic development, even though it is. We're just telling the people in the community that, hey, we're giving you what we know you already want. You want to know about events happening in your community. You want to know about success stories in your community. You want to know about jobs and employment skills. We know we all want this information. And right now, we can't find it, or we're searching for it through Google or 100 other places yet. So what ends up happening once we're able to exchange information with each other, we're unlocking and liberating that information so that everybody in the community knows what's happening. Let me give you an example. A Little League baseball game, right? You and I may not care about a Little League baseball game, but my estimation, there's probably 200 people that care about what happened in that baseball game. They want to see photos, they want to see statistics, friends, family, whatever it is around the world want to know what happened in that baseball game. And right now, that information, even though photos are being taken, statistics are being gathered, might be put on Facebook, but it's locked away in some small networks on Facebook or Twitter. If we could share that on a network like Go Cape Breton, all of a sudden now you have hundreds of people coming, not for economic development, but because they want to see a photo of the Little League baseball game, their cousin or their grandkid or whatever it is. And while they're there, they're discovering about an investment opportunity in the community, or a new job, or a crowdfunding campaign, or a volunteering opportunity, and it's allowing them to contribute more closely. So what ends up happening is, instead of this, this is the kind of network most economic development is being done in a community. So here in our community, there are several dozen organizations involved in economic development, and they tend to be talking to each other. If we're lucky, they're talking to each other, and they're tapping into their networks, but they're very limited, right? They're not able to get their message out to the community. As soon as we tap into everybody in the community, everybody sharing and finding the information we need, we're now tapping into everybody's social network, everybody's social capital, and we're creating a global network of information. So if we focus on the problems that Go Cape Breton.
I love this presentation.
There you go. I'm glad you stuck around. We focus on the problems that we're going to solve. We can connect businesses and customers together. We can help start new businesses by presenting one place where people can discover the different options that are available to them in terms of starting a business, and get inspired by success stories that we're going to be archiving on the site. We can help grow existing businesses. We can help with business succession. That's a big problem in Cape Breton today. A lot of people are retiring. They want to sell their businesses. How are they going to do it? How do you advertise the fact that you're selling a business? In fact, I'm willing to bet there's a lot of expatriates who want to move back and would buy a business if they knew it was available, but there's no mechanism to make that connection. we make that possible through this platform. People can post their businesses for sale anonymously and other things like that. We have business directories. We have job posting and matching. So right now, here in Cape Breton, if you want to post the fact that you have a job opening, you either have to pay to put it in the newspaper. You can go on Career Beacon or something like that online. Again, you're paying to do so. We're going to allow you to post job opportunities for free. But we're taking it a step further. We're adding features that you won't see in any other platforms. For example, if you're an expatriate and you want to come back, or anybody who wants to come move to this community, you're probably not going to do it until you have a job, right? It's catch-22. Well, how do you find a job before you can come back? So what we allow you to do is actually post your skills on the site and say that, hey, I'd like to come back in the next 2 years, and this is the kind of job I'm looking for. These are my skills. And then employers like us can actually have an inventory of people who are not only local and have skills, but are away and want to move back and bring those skills to our community. We're doing the same with the same kind of approach with internships, apprenticeships, and mentoring. So if you are a business willing to intern or be an apprentice for somebody, you can post the fact that you're willing to do that under whatever terms, whether it's a free internship, whether it's paid, and then other people in the community can find you and then upgrade their skills that way. Interns and apprentices can post their interest in doing so, and then employers like us can go and find them. Mentoring, we're doing that as well, business mentoring. So people who are willing to mentor other businesses, other budding entrepreneurs, can post the fact that they're willing to do so. You can do it anonymously so you don't get inundated with requests. And then if you find and connect with someone that you want to mentor, you can then exchange your information and take it from there. So it's all being automated and distributed through the system. Volunteering as well. There's thousands and thousands of volunteer hours that are not being used right now because people who are willing to volunteer don't know where they want to volunteer. They don't know where the opportunities are, or they don't want to overcommit. So now a volunteer organization can come to the site and say, hey, I need volunteers for this weekend, or I need 2 hours a week for the next year. And you can, again, match up with people in the community. We can do the same with charitable causes. Crowdfunding campaigns. All right, so we're going to pause here and talk a little about crowdfunding. 5 more minutes, still okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So let's talk about crowdfunding. So this is the second part of the presentation. Then we'll circle back and continue to the solution slides. So how many of you guys have contributed to a crowdfunding campaign? I'm just curious. How many of you had thought about contributing to a crowdfunding campaign? Okay. Cheapskates. Just kidding. So most of you have. So you're aware that crowdfunding, essentially somebody has a new business or product or project, and they'll post it on a website like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and they'll try to raise money that way. And they'll ask for $5 or $10 or a few $100s, and in return they might give you something like a T-shirt or maybe the first product off the assembly line if they're building a product. And it's a really great way to raise money, and it's taken off like crazy, as you may know. There's billions of dollars now being invested through crowdfunding. The thing with crowdfunding, though, is currently you're really gifting your money to that business. Now, they may be giving you something in return, but you're not buying equity or shares in that business. You're not giving them a loan in that business, although there are other sites like Kiva that do loans and that kind of thing, particularly internationally. You're really gifting your money. And if you want to unlock the potential of crowdfunding a little bit further, you need to allow other types of securities like equity-based financing or debt-based financing. Well, there is legislation being drafted right now, both in the U.S. and Canada. I think the U.S. is ahead of us. That's going to allow any type of security to be sold through crowdfunding. So if you actually want to sell shares in your business, you're going to be able to do it, assuming this legislation passes over the next number of months.
Is that provincial law?
Yeah. They're actually, because securities, as you know, securities legislation is by province. I think there's about 2 or 3 provinces, Ontario, maybe Alberta, I can't remember, that are actually working together to try to create common legislation that hopefully will then get adopted across the country.
So Nova Scotia's not participating in that at this stage?
I haven't read that yet, but I can't say if they are or not, but I haven't seen Nova Scotia out front.
But they did lead with the CETA thing, right? I mean, the CETA thing was started here, and now 4 provinces are doing it, so I would hope that that same group would be involved.
Maybe. I haven't looked into it that far. But I think that crowdfunding is really going to be the future of funding businesses, much more so than traditional venture capital angel. We'll still have their roles. I think crowdfunding is where it's going to go. The other interesting thing about crowdfunding is, as you guys know who've raised money, you know that the average person can go to the casino and blow their life savings, and nobody's going to say anything about it. They can go to there's a corner store and buy lottery tickets until the cows come home. Nobody's going to say anything about it. But if I don't know you and you're not within a certain net worth classification, I can't ask you to mess my business. It's not legal for me to ask you that. Yet you can go and blow your life savings at the casino. It's kind of crazy. Well, crowdfunding helps change that because now anybody who has a valid project, if you feel it's valid, you can contribute your funds to that. So, but there's a couple of problems with crowdfunding from a local perspective that I'm hoping to solve with this initiative that we'll talk about in a moment. So, the reasons that businesses or, let's say, projects will fail at crowdfunding, beyond the fact that maybe they're just not good business ideas or they didn't present well, is the idea may not be viral enough, which means that if you go and post your idea on Kickstarter, which is the most popular platform, you're competing with thousands of other ideas. So how do you get some profile within those thousands of ideas? Unless you have some really unique idea, you're not going to get that profile. And if you don't get that profile, you're not going to raise enough money. So there's not that many ideas that are viral. Of course, we hear about all the viral ones on the news, but it's like hearing about the lottery winners on the news, right? You don't hear about all the losers. So most ideas are not viral. The other thing is, if your idea is not viral, then you're really dependent on your own personal network to contribute and get the message out about your crowdfunding campaign. And most people just don't have a huge personal network to be able to do that. I mean, the average Facebook account has 200, 250 friends, and we all know they're not real friends, right? So, so a lot of campaigns fail simply because the individuals, the proponents, just don't have a large enough network. And then third is local businesses would have a real hard time on any international crowdfunding campaign because somebody who's not in the community is not interested in investing in your restaurant because they're never going to visit your restaurant, right? They'd rather invest in somewhere local. So being local is actually a huge disadvantage from a crowdfunding campaign sort, if it's a local type business as opposed to an international type business. So I believe the solution to this is two things. Number one, putting a hyperlocal focus on local business opportunities, local crowdfunding business opportunities. So while you might be at a disadvantage when you're on Kickstarter because you're competing with 1,000 other international projects, the fact if you're only in Cape Breton and you're local, that's actually a big advantage for you, for people in Cape Breton. So we're turning a disadvantage into an advantage. So hyperlocal focus. And the second is due diligence. So as you may know, when somebody posts a crowdfunding campaign, there's really no due diligence done on that campaign. It's up to you to decide whether you feel that this is a legitimate opportunity or not. I think if we're able to focus local opportunities in crowdfunding and have some level of due diligence involved, it will encourage people to put more money into it and more people to put money into it. For example, if you notice that Innovacore is investing in this business and they're willing to put in X amount of money and they just have to raise another amount through crowdfunding, you're more likely to invest because you figure, well, Innovacore probably spent the time doing the due diligence and it's a local business. I want to put 50 bucks in it or 100 bucks in it or 20 bucks in or whatever that opportunity is. So what I've been proposing, and I just sent the message out last week, I think it is, to a small group of people here locally, is that we build a Cape Breton crowdfunding group. And it'll have a couple of features. Feature number one is there's no cost. There's no formalities. All it is if you care about Cape Breton businesses, whether you live here or live away, it doesn't matter to us, just let us know. We'll include you in this group. And what we'll do is we'll make you aware of local crowdfunding campaigns. And then you can decide on your own whether you want to invest 20 bucks, 100 bucks, or whatever that campaign is asking for. So it's just a way for us to have a large network of people who are interested in investing in local businesses. Again, whether it's 20 bucks or 20,000 bucks or $200,000, doesn't matter. We just want to have a large network. So when local crowdfunding campaigns get launched, they can come to us and say, hey, will you put us through your network? And we'll say, sure. And we'll let the network know about that crowdfunding campaign. So in terms of building that group, there's three types of people that we're going to add to the group. Number one is what we're calling angels. So an angel is essentially anybody, right? Thanks for coming. An angel is anybody.
Didn't like it that much.
No. You got the prize.
Interestingly enough, we had a shout out by social media.
Yes.
Jim Dulesky says, "I love Mathew Georghiou."
Too soon. It's too soon.
He was spanking him. Spanking him.
Oh, you're banking it.
I didn't even see it coming.
Who's this? I never thought about how you can win that social media. You're breaking the rules here. I don't know what to do.
Innovator.
That's exactly. You should get a prize anyway for that.
Disruptive.
I thought you were still in Seattle.
In fact, late last.
So Angel will send you to anybody. You know, if you're willing to put $5 in the business and they're willing to accept it based on what they're offering in the crowdfunding campaign, we want you part of the group, basically. The second is Archangels. An Archangel is somebody who's probably going to invest potentially thousands of dollars in one or more businesses over a year. So they're just higher net worth individuals willing to invest more. And and we just want to separate them out so we know maybe there's certain opportunities that we'll send their way that might not fit the broader opportunity. And the third is a due diligence group. So this is a group of people, again, either who already invest in local businesses, like the CBDCs and the Novacores and the COs and so on, where if they do invest, again, our group will have nothing to do with that. That's between the business and the organization. If they invest, they can say the fact that so-and-so is investing, and that will give them some credibility and due diligence. The other thing of this due diligence group is that it could just be local people that we know and trust. And if one of those or more of those, several of those people are willing to say something positive about the business. Hey, I reviewed the business plan, I really like the business, I think it's a good idea. And you trust that person, you're more likely to invest. So what we're going to do is we're going to encourage this due diligence group that if they like what they see, it's just say something positive about the business that they're willing to allow to be posted on the crowdfunding campaign by the business. So all we're doing is greasing the wheels here for local businesses, local projects, to access a broader network than they can normally do, and with some level of due diligence that they normally would not be able to get another way. So we can bring, I think, potentially millions of dollars into this community, into crowdfunding campaigns, that is either locked away right now in savings accounts, or being spent on beer or whatever, right? The $50 or $100. Or going into public stock markets and bond markets, leaving the island and never coming back. So it's an informal network. Again, there's no cost. There's not going to be any meetings. There's not going to be any special rules. It's just, hey, you want to be part of this and you want to know about local opportunities, let us know. We'll get you part of it. So we're going to do it as we're going to I created a Facebook page earlier today. It's CB Crowdfunding. CB Crowdfunding. I haven't put anything up there yet, but we'll collect some names and we'll create a website to collect some names and go from there. Anyway, that's what we're doing with crowdfunding.
Matthew,
Yes.
wouldn't it be exciting? Wouldn't it be?
Hold on a second. I think Jim just said something. Yes.
Wouldn't it be exciting? Oh, I love you.
That's right. Too late. I found someone else.
We'll always have boss.
That's true. That's true.
Wouldn't it be exciting
Yes.
if we could get province to agree to let CB crowdfunding? It would take it away. It would take the informal nature of it away to become a CBDC.
It is interesting. There's a lot of extra work, as you know, involved in that.
Wouldn't it be exciting though?
It would be. It would be essentially a blind pool.
Well, obviously,
right?
yeah.
And there's some restrictions, I think, right now, as we are discovering.
You have to
Perhaps.
find a champion to be in there to make that happen. But if you can get the mindset to change,
Yeah.
to buy into the notion of this, right? I think it'd be absolutely incredible. It'd be absolutely incredible if we could do that.
I agree. I see that step 2, though. Let's say,
Yeah.
because
No, I'm fair,
we don't
fair.
want to slow it down. But the other benefit too is we can tap into existing CDIPs like New Dawn and so on.
Well,
Like we talked earlier.
certainly. But,
So what are you proposing to do in the meantime, though, with the legal thing run illegally and which I'm all for, but you got 2 decades for the legal system will run you through.
Yeah.
Right.
As we know, white-collar criminals are never going to go to jail anyway. So.
But this is essentially the what the internet was to communication. I mean, this is what the internet is to financing, right? I mean, it just kind of opens up that whole world of opportunity.
It is. What I propose, Doug, is we can stay within the rules, because most projects that are launching now are product-based a lot of times, right? So they can say, well, I'm going to give you the first product. You know, I've invested in crowdfunding campaigns like that because I want a product. So they can do that. Or if it's a local restaurant, they can say, you know, we'll give you coupons for, you know, $50 meal or something like that. So I think there's enough value there.
Pre-sales.
Pre-sales, exactly, which is the most powerful type of, in my opinion, that's the best way to raise money at the end of the day, right?
Or a pre-sale plus a benefit.
Correct.
Which is pretty common
with
too,
a
right?
T-shirt or something like that, yeah. And the other thing is, like, if you go to the CBDC, a local CBDC, and to raise money, they're not going to give you 100% what you're asking for. You're still going to have to raise some on your own. So you could get the debt or equity through the CBDC, perhaps, and then use crowdfunding to top up the extra 20% or whatever you may need. So you can use it as a combination. So back to Go Cape Breton, and that's another, the crowdfunding thing is another complement to Go Cape Breton. You know, once we have the community visiting the site, discovering things, it's just another way of leveraging the power of community. The other cool thing about Go Cape Breton is we can archive success stories. So as you know, every once in a while you read about a local success story, whether it's business or arts and entertainment, but once the news cycle is gone, it's disappeared. You can't see it anymore. We can now archive everything on one website. So now when people are coming to the community and you want to discover what's going on, you can see a wealth of great success stories that are happening both currently and historically. We can connect farmers to customers. You know, locally grown food, a big opportunity, but farmers can't connect with customers. It's too difficult to do. We're going to make that easy through the site. Restaurants and restaurant reviews, weather alerts. We're going to have the best weather page in the country on Go Cape Breton when you'll see it. Local sports, and you know, we talked about the Little League baseball game. So now coaches, parents, players can now post all of their information and stats on every level of sport, from, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school, and so on, which rarely get any visibility at all in local media. Parks and recreation. If you have a dog, where do you go to walk your dog? You know, that's one of the biggest discussions now in Cape Breton about dogs and dog parks and so on. Fitness, nature trails, historical landmarks. So as you know, Parks Canada is struggling with trying to get people out to their properties. It's because they don't have a meaningful way of communicating what's out there. History and genealogy. You know, constantly you're hearing about people looking for family members and names and histories, and we can do all that online. Obituaries, births, and weddings, all free. Tourism. So you know, we're not replacing existing websites. What we're doing is just creating a funnel for the community to come into, and then they can be directed to other websites that deal with individual things. But the great thing about the tourism is we have a section, for example, where they can tourist operators can post specials. So if it's a special for one particular ship that's coming in, it could be a one-day special at that moment. People on the ship come off, find the specials for them, and they can do it all simply with simple clicks. Newcomers to the community can find all the information that they need to integrate into the community. We can also create sections for specific cultures, so that if people want to find out about the Asian grocery market that opened on Townsend Street, I don't know how many of you know that there's a small Asian grocery market opened on Townsend Street about 2 weeks ago. They can share that information. Music and arts and entertainment, education. Here, just stop for a moment and talk about one of the key features we have in education is we have a feature called skill gaps and knowledge paths. So a skill gap is where employers know they're missing certain skills in the community, and you know it's holding your business back from growing or will hold your business back from growing. But we as employers have no way of communicating what our skill gaps are out to the community. So there's a whole bunch of underemployed people who want to be more fully employed. There's a whole bunch of employers who want to employ people, but they don't have the right skills. So how do we let them know what those skills are? Well, right now, the only thing these people can do is go to traditional college websites and university websites where they're being sold 2-year and 4-year degrees, and they may already have one of those. They just want to know what the skill gap. So in my business, for example, I need C# programmers. Can't just be a regular programmer. I need you to be a C# programmer. And if you're a regular programmer, you can learn C# on your own. It'll probably only take you a couple of months. And in fact, you can probably do it for free online. So I can post that now on the community website and let you know that. And the second thing I can do is I can post a knowledge path, which means if I am aware of resources that will get you from being a regular programmer to a C# programmer, I can post all those resources and give you that path for how you can upgrade your skills on your own. We'll have real estate, and not only for sale, but we'll also have for rent as well, which is a big issue in many communities, finding rental properties. Transit schedules, government information, asset management and maintenance. You may know that the local community has a hotline for potholes. You guys know that?
You don't have enough space to cover the potholes.
I gave this presentation to CBRM Council yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah, time's flying. And they were like, oh, no, no. No.
One guy said, oh, thanks.
Another guy said, can you fill potholes? So anyway, we have...
Anybody call you, they love you?
No! Come to think of it. I wasn't giving away prizes either.
I'll stop.
We have a feature that provides for crowdsourced mapping on the site. So we have a map on the site, or multiple maps, that allows anyone in the community to post anything on the map. So you can post the cleanest washrooms in Cape Breton, the best Wi-Fi hot zones in Cape Breton, potholes in Cape Breton, and post photos of those things if you want. Richard and I are talking about a contest we're going to do to kind of drive people to the site. It's the, not only the pothole competition, but the pothole that looks like the most
like a famous role figure.
Yes. So the John Critchin pothole.
The Jesus pothole.
Jesus pothole, yes, exactly.
We're all Jesus.
That's true. That's true. So we have crowdsourced maps. If the municipality wants to, find out about all the fire hydrants that are not functioning properly in the community, they can just ask the community to do it, and we can all crowdsource it. Public safety, health information. You may be aware that the Cape Breton District Health Authority spent $60,000 last year promoting or advertising the fact that ERs were closed. $60,000 that could be put to better use, I think, for our healthcare system. Construction alerts, sales and coupons, the businesses can post, classified ads like Kijiji or Craigslist. The other cool thing about our classified ads is we have location-based classified ads. So if you want to put your, the used bicycle you want to sell, you can actually put your location. So your neighbor 2 blocks down can actually discover, hey, that's my neighbor. I'll go buy the bicycle from him directly. Events calendar, so a centralized events calendar for the island. And finally, the ability to reach expatriates, which, in my opinion, our expatriates are the most powerful economic development tool we have, and we have no meaningful way to connect with them. And they want to give back to the community in some way. They may never move back, but they want to contribute in some way, and we'll be able to connect with them with the system. We have almost 200 different sections on the website covering everything you can imagine. And then the results, more social capital, more economic activity, real-time asset mapping, real-time economic data monitoring, and hopefully positive worldwide attention for an innovative community that is working together to do great things.
Oh, I love the presentation.
Hey! There you are. Thank you.
Matthew, I might have missed that. Is this going to be just on the website, or are you going to have a multiple set of tools to go along with this as well?
This is all one website. Yeah, all one website. And I can show you some of it, but I'm done my formal part of the presentation.
Transitions to mobile, I guess, pretty easily, does it? Is it?
Yeah, it uses dynamic CSS, so it'll customize.
That makes it really, really powerful that way.
Any questions for Matt?
Will you support RSS?
We probably will. I'm not sure how often it's used these days, but really, you're old school. You're old school. It's pretty easy for us to add it, so we'll probably end up adding it at some point.
I browse content from some 300 websites a day, and I can't do that by going to websites.
Right, right.
But maybe if I had a site like that, I wouldn't have to browse 300 websites.
If for local, you won't have to. Hopefully, yeah.
Jim, my question is actually kind of on the exact opposite side of that, which is, are you doing anything to automate the content creation so it maintains freshness, right? So where Arnold's going and using RSS to read all these sources, are you doing anything so that you've got a constant source of fresh information? Because without that, people are going to go, they're going to see something, and if nothing's changed in 3 days, they won't come back.
Right. Thanks, Jim. So this is the homepage, although it's still being tweaked. And essentially, what we think is that people are going to post content constantly. People are already posting content, as we know, local content on Facebook and Twitter and so on. We don't necessarily want them telling us what they have for supper here, but we think we think there's enough going on that it will attract people. And if you visit the local newspapers online, they probably post, I would guess, about 5 new articles a day. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? I think we'll easily get 50, 100 a day. And we have systems built in that will bring things to the front to make them more modern and so on. And we're in the process of connecting with various organizations that we know have constant messages and stories they want to put out. And I think we'll be able to make that happen. In terms of automating, though, we're trying to let the community drive the content more so than us. So we're developing features that make it easy for people to do that. For example, one of the features we have is you can embed your Facebook page, right? So most websites, you can't embed a Facebook page unless you're the administrator. For our website, you can embed your own Facebook. Everybody can embed their own Facebook page. So if you're a business and you say, well, I don't want to maintain another presence online because I don't have time to even do my own Facebook page, you just embed your Facebook page and it'll go there. The other thing we're doing is we're going to create a Twitter feed that's going to go on the homepage of the most common local news sources. So that itself is always going to be going. So a variety of things like that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, Tom, I go on and look at Cape Breton Post online. I'm sure you're expecting this question. So, general response to those posts are very cynical in nature, can be very cynical in nature. So my question is a little bit about that and how you deal with that. But before you respond, so our biggest problem, I think we speak to around here, is we have this incredible culture of dependency, of kind of a backward approach to things, and what we desperately need. And if your real underlying thrust is about economic development, and it's about changing this community, we have to change the culture in this community. We have to change the way we do things, the way people see things. And the big problem we have is this cynical response to everything that happens in this community, be it good or be it bad. How is GoCapeBreton.com going to respond to that culture with the understanding that it really needs to try and turn that on its head?
Right. That's a good question, and of course we've thought about that and what we're going to do about it. So there's a couple of things we're going to do. The first is there's no anonymous posting on the site, except in very strategic places like I was talking about jobs, where if you want to post your skills, you want to come back, and that could jeopardize your career in some way, we'll let you do it. But in terms of posting comments and things, there's no anonymous posting. For you to post any content or any comment, you have to be a member on the site. Membership is free, and you can connect with Facebook and so on, so it's pretty easy. But you have to be a named person. And I think that alone will eliminate 95, maybe 99% of the crazy drive-by commenting that we see on other local sites. The second thing is I think you'll still get some negativity, no question about it. And we don't want to feel like we're Big Brother. We want to let the community feel like this is their site, and you control your own content, and there will be some social discourse. We want to allow people to disagree with what's happening, so we don't want to shut that down. But at the same time, I can tell you, if I post something on the site and the named person criticizes me, I'm going to write back. Most people will never do that on the other sites because it's anonymous and you're just getting into whatever, right? But in this case, I can write back, and other people may or may not, but at least I can control my message and provide whatever feedback I want with my message. But I think the anonymous thing is one of the biggest issues.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm not against negative comments.
Right. Sure.
There's great constructive conversation that has to happen.
Yes.
But it's about that culture of dependency that we have that really just rocks us to the core, right? And I think in terms of, again, if your underlying theme here is to find a way to address, the economic disparity we have here, we have to be able to somehow move that culture in a positive way.
I think it'll happen with the crowd, right? So when you go to a website and all of a sudden you're seeing a whole bunch of success stories, right? And you're seeing support for those success stories. And you're seeing farmers selling their products online and people contributing in a way they couldn't do before. Because one of the other reasons we see a lot of this negativity, not only is it because it's not managed properly with the online sources, and they benefit by creating controversy that doesn't exist. So they're not motivated to do anything about it in most cases, unless it's libelous in some way. Is the fact that I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry about that. What were we talking about? Too many presentations.
Culture, you're
The
making
culture-
Boston again.
I can't, yes. Actually, I was thinking of Tom Campbell. You know what I'm talking about.
It was a threesome, folks.
I will tell you off camera about that one. I completely lost what I was gonna, the point I was gonna say. I'm gonna figure it out though.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just think that when we're able to see people transact. Oh, okay, I've got it now. What often happens is that people they'll see a business raise money, for example, right? And they'll say, oh, there's those guys raising money again. You know, they've got the end, and it's because they keep seeing money spent on things that the average person can't participate in, right? This is something the average person participates in and benefits with, right? Benefits from. The fact that they're able to contribute and able to see their friends, family, and neighbors contribute content and ideas and so on, as opposed to normal media, which you rarely see your friends and neighbors, you know, in the media doing positive things. I think little things like that are all going to feed towards creating a more positive environment.
Yeah, that's a good comment.
Anyway, sorry it took me so long to remember it.
And I think it's an incredible idea. I think it's well overdue. Really needed.
Where's the money come from to run it? Any revenue sources on it?
You know, I forgot to mention early on that when I said that we've been building this technology and we want to deploy it here first for our community, I forgot to mention that we're actually donating the technology, we're donating our time and our expertise. It does require money, so we're in the process of assembling sponsors to support the maintenance of the site. We think after we reach critical mass, probably maybe 2 years' time, something like that, we'll be able to self-sustain it through advertising revenue. So we have some strategic ways that we're going to do advertising that's not conventional. So initially sponsorship, and then eventually it'll just fund itself through advertising.
I'm really glad you didn't say ECBC.
Wow.
But I know what the first crowdfunding.
There is a discussion about that too. Right?
We know what the first crowdfunding request is.
Oh, yeah. Could be, yeah, could be.
So there is a capacity for a commenting system in there?
Yeah, in fact, you want me to wrap up and show it?
No, go for it.
Okay, so this is the home page, and looking along the top, it's like a standard news site. We got living and working in the community, visiting, sports, A&E, and so on. These are individual posts posted by people, and what we've done is we group post into what we call streams. So this is our featured stream. So if we think an article is important, we can bring it up to the top of the feature stream. This is the latest stream, which means anything posted anywhere, whether it's sports or government, will show up automatically in the latest, almost like a running stream of new posts. And then as you scroll down, oops, do I have it there? No, I don't have it there. As you scroll down, you'll see other streams like sports and entertainment and so on. And then you can actually click these buttons to scroll through. So very quickly, you can browse a whole bunch of news on your community. And then if you roll over an item, what it does is it brings up a summary of that article or whatever that posting is. So again, very easily, you can monitor headlines and then roll over to view details. Now, if you like that, you click on it. So this is our weather page. I said it's the best weather page in the country. So this is our Cape Breton weather page that we posted. It's got the 4 areas of the island with Environment Canada information. As you scroll down, we also have the live webcams. You guys, how many of you guys have seen the webcams online, right? So you got to go into the map and back out, go into the map and back over. So we have them all on one page, live streams, and then we also have the weather radar. And again, this is all on one page. And then as you scroll down, Arnold, here's where we have our comments. Now here's what's really cool. If you posted this, you could control if you want comments on your post or not. If you want all public comments to go public right away, or if you only want the moderator, which means you get notified every time there's a comment, you decide whether that comment shows or not. So every poster has complete control over that system.
That leads into my next question, moderation.
So, so just like Facebook and so on, they don't monitor content unless it's problematic, right? And then they'll step in and do something about it. We want to do the same thing. So we will monitor content, and we'll have distributed people doing that monitoring. And the community itself will monitor. If you see something you don't like, you can flag it. Of course, we'll look at it So we'll be monitored, but again, we're not going to try to be Big Brother and tell you what you should say and how you should say it. As long as it's not violating the terms of use or objectionable, it's going to stay.
So how will content get featured?
So when I talk about democratizing information, we've democratized it. So in terms of these normal streams, everybody's on equal playing field, right? So if you post on sports right now under high school sports, it's going to show up the latest item in high school sports, so the next item comes down. You can also rate items. You can rate them up, down, and then we list them by controversial, hot, trending, and that kind of thing. So in terms of this featured one, though, we've kept this for our sponsors. So if you're a sponsor, we'll give you one featured item a week or something like that. So you tell us that this message is important for us, and you please feature it for a few days. So this one is more for either things that we think are important for the community or are important for our sponsors in some way. But it doesn't push down anybody else's content in any other way. So everybody's on an equal playing field.
You have time for one more question?
I do, but it's Bob's the boss.
Go ahead.
Just search. How tuned is search?
So so we completely built this platform from scratch. It's not built on any other web content management system because nothing else could do what we need to do. So we actually had to build a whole new taxonomy to figure out how do we organize information and make it meaningful and searchable when there's thousands of people posting content. If you look at Facebook, the way Facebook works, it's a timeline. It's just one thing after another, and if you miss something, good luck, forget about it. So we had to actually figure out a real taxonomy. So what we do is a couple of different things. If you want to post something, what you do is you navigate to where you want to post it. So let's say living and weather, and you click the new post button. And we created what we call a smart tagging system. So it immediately tags it with that particular section, right? The other thing we can do, we also have optional tags, which I'll show you in a moment. But basically, this is a new post. So now you build your post. So this is one of those tiles that you saw on the front. You click on the header image, and it brings up your personal image gallery. You put in your photo, you type in the headline and the pop-up text, and then you scroll down and decide what kind of content you want to put on this page. And this is the cool thing, is you can put all of this content on one single post. So you can embed a Facebook page, a Twitter widget, a Tumblr blog, and a link to another website, all on one single post. So I can highlight, let's say, link to a website and Twitter widget, fill in the information, and then as I scroll down, I can choose if I'm going to allow reader comments or not, the date to make the post public, the date to hide the post if it gets stale, geolocation tagging as well, if you want to tag your post. Optional tags, so we have tags for every community in Cape Breton. So if you want to tag something as Albert Bridge, you can do that and then people can search. So one of the features we're building in as part of the kind of search and filtering is if Albert Bridge is one of your favorite tags, we're going to create a personal stream on the front page for you that'll stream all of your favorite tags, all posts from your favorite tags. Or mapping and some other stuff. And so the other search we have, in addition to making it easily organized through our menu system here, is we have standard keyword search. And then we have, I don't have a screenshot of this, but once you go further in, we have everything organized by most popular, most controversial, and these types of things. So we've thought about the best way to present content. Long answer to a short question.
That's fantastic.
What, do you have a launch date? Kinda?
Thanks a lot, Bob. Didn't I say summer?
Summer. Yeah.
And summer won't start probably until September, right? So it gives me until November.
No, it's over.
We had
It's over.
somewhere arguing we've already had some.
And I missed the date already. I missed the launch date already.
Just give a month, we don't need a year.
Summer.
Summer. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks very much, Matt. Really appreciate you coming out and doing this.
Thank you, everybody.